gallery view, and we're all streaming live on YouTube. And Mr. Batchelor, I invite you to introduce. Welcome.
All right. Mr. Petiti, Michael, thank you. Thank you for setting this up tonight. Those of you who are joining us tonight, this was our opportunity tonight to talk about the Accessibility and Wellness Project at the high school, at Radnor High School. So we wanted to have an opportunity tonight to share with our community, to set up this forum, the status of that project, share where we are, some of the steps that have taken for us to arrive at the point that we are with this project. And then also, besides sharing information with this project, we also want to use this as an opportunity to gather your feedback. We want to gather your feedback and questions. We have been discussing this project for many years at many board meetings. We've been discussing this in the public at our facilities meetings and at our business meetings. I know not everyone watches our facilities and business meetings unless lately it's dealing with school opening. We've seemed to have garnered a pretty strong viewership at our last few meetings. But we wanted to take time, because we know not everyone's watching those board meetings when it comes to our facilities and our projects, to take some time tonight to share a status of the project, where we are with the planning, to share the designs, since our community has been so helpful in giving us feedback over the last few years. We want to make sure that we're reaching out again to share the status, and also, as I said, to gather feedback. So tonight is going to be us presenting, us sharing a lot of information. If there's time, we'll try to open up for a Q&A at the end. But we're focused on next Wednesday. Am I correct, or is it Thursday, Mr. Petiti? I'm sorry, I'm losing track of the days. Next Thursday. It's next Thursday. We will have a follow-up meeting next Thursday. And that follow-up meeting will be again with us, the panelists that are here. I'll introduce everybody in a moment, and for an opportunity for us to have more Q&A and answer some questions that may arise from our presentation tonight. So let me just introduce who's in the panel. We've got, first off, Mr. Petiti, who's been helping us with our communication side and helping us set up the meeting tonight. We have Steve Behrens. He's the architect that has been working with the district on this project, and we welcome Steve. We have Jeff Boujoukos, who's a parent in our community, who has volunteered, and I think he's questioning, what he volunteered for, but volunteered to be a parent rep on our steering committee, as well as other parents, administrators, and other staff that are part of that steering committee. And thank you, Jeff, for all the time that you have spent in volunteering to be part of this. And we have Bill Dolan. Bill Dolan is our acting director of operations, who, I like to joke, started with us 3 hours before COVID happened. And it was about that. That week was his first week before we went out on March 13th, when he started as our acting director of operations. And Bill has just jumped in and has been really great, not only with everything we're dealing with as a district, but as a district, we're also keeping other things moving. We're moving forward with projects and professional development in other areas. And when it comes to our facilities, this piece of our project is continuing to move forward, and we want to provide that update tonight. So if we could go to the and so I've introduced everybody and the panelists. Let's go to the PowerPoint. Would that be all right if we open that up, Michael?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Great. Yep. Super. So you can go to the next slide. So everything that we're sharing tonight, just about everything I'm sure you can find on our website. This presentation as well. This will be archived also, what we're discussing tonight. Like we do with many projects in Radnor, when we have a large project or something that we're looking at within our instructional program, often we will set up a steering committee where we'll look for parents, we'll look for staff members, students to be involved in that. So if you go to our website, there is our accessibility and wellness infrastructure project website. The first page of that gives the progress and the timeline. It also lists the members of the steering committee. So you can see the members of the steering committee who have been working for for a long time on this project. And again, want to just thank all of them. I won't take the time to list them all, but their dedication to this, to continue to help us move forward, to continue to advise the school board at each of the milestones we have, has really been appreciated and has really helped us, to develop the plans that you're going to see tonight. Between the staff and community input, has really helped guide and has often helped us to understand what are our needs. And as we go through this discussion tonight, you're going to learn that, and many of the things we've discussed before, this project was, is accessibility and wellness, and it's accessibility because we have huge needs when it comes to accessibility and the challenges that our facility presented, not only for anyone who is wheelchair bound, but the challenges for grandparents, for anybody who is disabled or having troubles with accessing some of our fields and areas. You're going to hear about tonight what have been those challenges and what are we presenting to overcome those challenges. So again, thank the steering committee for all their hard work. I want to share, before I turn it over to Mr. Boujoukos, just share a little bit of the next slide on our timeline. This project and this discussion about this project has been going on since 2016. And you can see on our website, I won't go through the whole timeline. I've got about 3 slides on the timeline, but you can see all the different aspects of this project, the different milestones, the discussions that we've been having publicly about this project. I will draw your attention to the next, this previous slide, and we moved them pretty quickly there, but the one I want to just mention on the previous slide was the December 17th meeting, 2019, the business meeting. That was the meeting where the board approved the administration to move forward with the accessibility and wellness project, and with a projected cost of $24 million. And it, at that time, directed us, the administration, to begin to identify architect and other processes and steps for this project. And then we worked closely then with Steve and his architectural firm to bring them in as part of the project, and then also to bring in other pieces of the project to keep this moving from that time forward. So I just wanted to share that timeline with everybody. There was a schematic design in April. We approved a schematic design with the school board at our public meeting. And our next phase with the school board, we'll be talking about this actual project design that we're sharing tonight here in this meeting. Will be the next discussion that we'll be publicly having with our school board. So before we get in, and I know everybody wants to see the design, if you haven't been following our board meetings, we have shared many of these designs in board meetings. Before we do that, I want to just turn it over to Mr. Boujoukos, to Jeff, to talk a little bit about, since he was part of this steering committee that was part of the feasibility study where we identified the needs and truly needs, and I say that as opposed to wants or what would have been nice to have, but he will talk a little bit about the history of that feasibility study and what brought us to this point. I'll turn it over to you, Jeff.
I'll unmute myself. Thanks, Ken, and thanks for letting me be involved in this. And before I go any further, I'd also like to thank the contributions of other families and alumni, including the Henkel family, who's been in this from far before I was, in identifying accessibility issues at the Radnor schools. Katie Sampson, Hall of Famer and wonderful person that we all know, who's devoted her time, and Sue Addis, another parent who's been at this longer than I have, and has devoted a tremendous amount of time to these issues. So I won't say that I'm speaking for them because they may deny what I'm saying, but I will. What I thought I would do is go through a little bit of the why, because it was enlightening and eye-opening to me, and I think it puts in context the project that we've arrived at here, understanding how we got to this place. In 2016, the district identified an issue with the varsity football field prevost bleachers and the need to upgrade those bleachers. And the first thought was that there would be just a design build for those bleachers, meaning tear them down, put in new bleachers, and move on. Unfortunately, when the district started looking at that project, There were other issues that the track itself, as you can see from some of these pictures, has gotten to a point where it needs to be repaired or replaced. The football field is at the end of its useful life. It's about 13 years old now, and that's going to have to be replaced. And so, as you would expect, the district started looking at how it would do these projects in tandem. They brought out experts who looked at the bleachers and disclosed two primary facts that made this more than just a football bleacher project. The first is that there's a retaining wall that runs along the outside of that side of the school, along the pool area and down by the basketball court that's outside, that was in disrepair. And when you move the bleachers, you're going to have to replace that, which meant that we couldn't do a design build project. The second thing that these experts told us was that code would require a lot of accessibility improvements that went well beyond simply replacing the bleachers. To comply with applicable law and code, things like the entrance to the field, which you see on the upper left-hand side of this, the collage, and for those of you who have been to the field, you've seen this, is very steep. It is not compliant with code and law. There are also a number of other issues, including getting to the bleachers and getting to the field and the distance from the bleachers to the school itself. So without going into too much detail, it was clear that this was going to be a more significant project than I think anybody had hoped for originally. And the administration also identified things like a need for an upgraded concession stand, which has no running water right now, and a number of other issues. And so in 2018, the district went out to the community and asked the community to come to two different meetings and offer their suggestions and ideas and thoughts on what could be improved. And I think, to put it lightly, that was enlightening to many of us. And the collective community brought up a lot of incredibly important issues. And so if we just flip to the next slide, Mike, keep this slide in your minds as we go through this. So, there are overarching this project for the district. There are the district goals and priority projects, which focus on continued study of student wellness and have several priority projects, including the infrastructure at the school, including focusing on safety, and also doing long-term planning. So if we're going to do building improvements, the district wants to look at how those are going to affect our long-term planning. The other thing that became eminently clear to all of us right from the beginning is that while there is substantial usage of these fields by a number of student groups in the high school and also in the middle school and also surrounding schools such as St. Catherine's, there are a number of other community groups that use these areas and these fields pretty much 24/7, 365. We had some, I think in previous presentations, we've done estimates about the number of people and the percentage of students, but virtually all the students touch these fields. And the vast majority of the community does also for a number of different activities like lacrosse, soccer, band, track. And then on top of that, what became clear from this community outreach was that there's a substantial amount of community members and students that also use the pool and indoor aspects of the facility. And so if you flip to the next slide, so what we learned pretty early on in looking at this project was that there were some substantial safety and ADA accessibility issues that needed to be addressed. And these include, and Ken touched on some of them, we've had some falls in the Enki bleachers that have been the subject of previous meetings of the board. We've had some falls. One visiting student athlete, broke his ankle during a football game, climbing the stands to go to the visitors' locker room, which is our adjunct gym, our overflow gym. We have, a number of trip and falls that relate to the stairs coming down into Enki. the ramp coming down into Prevo, and the community kind of came out and made it clear that these things needed to be improved and addressed. Internally, we have the same kinds of issues with the pool deck, with some of the pool balcony steps. And so in thinking about this project and thinking about the safety aspect of it, and the necessity to comply with code for access, it just naturally led to planning with regard to the pathways, the parking spots, the accessibility and safety of the stands, and led us to look very closely at what could be done to improve the Enki bleach, I'll call them, put in quotes, bleacher area, which is really just cement and 2x4s right now, as well as the safety and accessibility of the Prevo field, which, has, by necessity, we're going to have to improve that or fix that, replace that bleacher. So that's where we started. And then what we learned, if you just flip back, Mike, he's giving me the hook, rightly so. What we learned is that we also have, the facilities are aged. The second thing that we learned was that we have some code issues and some necessities that we're going to have to put in as we do these improvements, like bathrooms. For those of you who've been to these facilities, there is only one stall for every male athlete and visitor that is accessible during any kind of game. It is not located anywhere near Enki. And so we've had a number of community members make the point that it's impossible for elderly, for people who need aid to get to those bathrooms from virtually anywhere but above the stands in Prevo. That's going to have to be fixed. We have the safety issue of athletes coming up and down the stands. We have other safety issues like lightning. There is no shelter on any of these fields after school hours, and also safety of officials. And so in planning this, you'll see that we took into consideration all of those moving parts with the recognition that if we're going to do this, we can't do it and then hope to do more a year later, because it's like an interlocking puzzle. And once you build and fix the field and the track and the stands, to fix other things or to do other construction, we would be rolling over what we had already repaired. So rather than looking back and saying, well, wait a second, we need these kinds of facilities, 5 years from now, saying that, we tried to plan and predict what we were going to need to be code compliant and get that done now, so we didn't have to go back over and pay a lot more to fix that. The other aspect of this was to look carefully internally to see if we had similar safety and accessibility issues. We certainly identified those issues when it comes to the pool. The pool was built in 1971 and has not been significantly improved since then. And the same kind of issues that we saw outside: ADA accessibility, security, being able to lock down certain areas so that people are not wandering around parts of the high school. All these issues, as we work through them with the community, with the administration, we're addressing in this plan. So again, we're not looking back a year from now or 2 years from now and saying, oh, now we need to do this. We're trying to do that forward-looking planning. And finally, you'll see in the planning a fitness center. And that kind of, again, crosses over a lot of the goals of the school and the district in health and wellness. For those of you who have been to the high school and seen the area, which is the gymnasium area where you can ride a bike or lift weights if you're on a team, or you just want to do general conditioning, that is an incredibly small and cramped area. And for safety purposes, only a certain amount of students can be allowed in there. And that number of students is substantially below the number of students who want to use that room, the number of clubs, teams, et cetera, that want to use those kinds of facilities. And so again, being forward thinking and listening to the community about what the needs were, we looked at what would be kind of comparable to similar situated schools, but also meet the health and wellness goals of the district. And also, it also has the benefit of giving us a little bit more internal room flexibility, which you'll see from the planning. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Steve, and thank you all for your indulgence.
Thank you, Mr. Boujoukos. Thanks, everyone. It is truly exciting to see the project at this point. Our involvement really began last fall in earnest, and so we are truly standing on the shoulders of the steering committee and other professionals, architects and engineers who have done good work leading up to this point. But with that having been said, over the past months, architects, engineers, and the construction management team have been working diligently, tasked with turning those goals and priorities that have been discussed into the project design. And so those high points are listed here, and they remain front of mind for us as we move forward. So the interior and exterior safety and ADA enhancements, and the capital needs of the high school campus. Infrastructure upgrades in the athletic wing relate to some areas going back to the original 50s and 60s construction that have seen little improvement over the years as other areas of the building have been upgraded. And we're looking for opportunities to create additional education space, and you'll see that to account for the future, enrollment growth and so forth. And to support the district's curricular focus on fitness and wellness and providing state-of-the-art space for that. Continuing to build on the work of some previous projects in terms of easing car and bus traffic and circulation on campus. The next point is one that deserves a little bit of explanation. You know, with the accessibility features, we're not looking to sort of clip those on as an afterthought, but really integrate it into the design. And so to that end, when you think of particular of things like viewing opportunities and seating location and ramps and pedestrian pathways on campus, how can those be addressed in a universal way that invites the use of everyone and contributes to the safety and pedestrian connectivity? And that has really, I think, in large part, formed the character of the design, as you'll see on the exterior and the site improvements. So on the next slide, this is the comprehensive site plan. So a bird's eye view, if you will. The more vibrant colors are depicting the new work, and certainly the most prominent feature you see there is the largest here in this view is the Prevost Stadium and the surfaces there. So right in the center of the view, you have the field turf associated with the stadium, the throwing events that are above that, which is to the north in this drawing, and then that's surrounded by a new all-weather running track. Moving down to the south of the plan, you'll see the two-story fitness addition, which is in tan there, a plaza that is leading to a sidewalk entry pedestrian area that comes off the parking lot. So that with green space depicted either side of it. So this is all construction that is essentially at the field level. So no steps or ramps are needed to connect the parking lot at this end to the field itself. Moving back up, there's the blue color is indicating the new bleachers that are on the home side to the side of the high school building. And then you'll see in the pool area, the tan additions associated with that. The dark gray is the new realigned roadway and new parking lot to provide accessible parking in that area. And then around the curve of the running track, you see the ramps that we'll look at more closely moving forward, but they're really designed again for traffic about 10 feet wide, so lots of pedestrian traffic can traverse those, and they become actually places of pause as well to provide views of the field. The tan rectangle between Enki and Prevost Field, that is the new field house. That's a two-story structure that is really balanced in the way it addresses both the Enki and the Prevost Field. And then moving on a little bit more to the north there, again in blue, is the Enki bleachers, new Enki bleachers that are also have a ramp coming down from the ticketing area to those. And then you'll see the sidewalk is reconfigured there, and there's some convenient place for drop off to be able to get safely out of the roadway. So as we move to the next slide, we'll see an enlargement of the floor plan. So we're looking back again now towards the south of the stadium. You'll see in tan, that is the two-story addition to the field house, or I'm sorry, to the high school. The dark gray indicates the areas of interior renovation to that space. So this plan level is at the upper level, the main floor elevation of the high school. So you'll see that the larger area of dark gray there adjacent to the addition, that's the existing weight room. And so the fitness center replaces that. So that is an area where we're able to relocate and improve the trainer and athletic offices and treatment area. And then the balance of that space is a new classroom. And then as you move out into the tan area of the new addition, there's 2 additional classrooms for 3 total in the design. And then a large open fitness room that has a very dramatic commanding view out over the stadium. And to the north of that is the balance of that existing patio, which would remain. And then there's, again, at that same floor elevation, and then there's an opportunity for direct access then from this area to the space behind the new bleachers, between the home bleachers and the high school building. So moving to the next slide, this is moving up still at the main floor elevation of the high school and the natatorium area. And once again, you see additions in tan and the interior renovation areas in a dark gray. And this includes new team rooms, new completely renovated locker rooms to support the natatorium, and then a new lobby there in tan that comes off of the new parking lot. So if you imagine you're under a canopy there for weather protection, and as you would enter through those double doors, the first door on the right is accessing the existing stairs that go up to the balcony. The next set of double doors accesses a corridor that leads directly from that lobby into the pool. So no longer does one need to go through the locker rooms, the boys and girls locker rooms, to get to the pool area. And then there's an addition for pool storage to replace the area that's lost there with that corridor, and then an office, a new office to replace one of the offices that is displaced by the expanding of the boys and girls locker rooms. Also in this is improvements to the pool machinery room and the pool equipment, and that will be in the design as well. And then on the right-hand side of the slide, you'll see a little enlargement. That is the balcony area. So again, off the lobby entrance, there's now an elevator that accesses that balcony. And then we have created code compliant designated wheelchair spaces on the balcony for folks to be spectators at that balcony level. Michael, did we perhaps skip over the lower level slide if you go back one? Okay, that seems like that might have gotten dropped out of the slideshow.
I don't know what happened there, Steve.
That's okay. Well, let's go back to the main level of the fitness edition. And I'll just
On this one? Okay.
try slide 12 there. So I'll just point out that the lower level of the fitness edition is under the footprint that you see there, and that is at the field level. There are public toilet rooms there and new team rooms, and a full renovation of the existing boys locker room, which you'll recall is in the lower level, the high school, the athletes have to climb stairs and come across the patio and then down the bleachers to access the fields. And so that is no longer the case. There's direct corridor access below this level of the fitness addition to reach the field level directly. And so much safer situation. And there's ample public toilets below this floor elevation, access directly from the field. And there's ticketing as well. So that at this end of the field, as well as the other end of the field, there is a nice entry point as well as ticketing. So in one of the aspects of the design is to again deal with congestion on campus and improve that by creating a second equally prominent entrance to the stadium to divide the traffic and allow people to better utilize the parking on campus in a balanced way. So now if we'll advance 2 slides. This is the field house. So this is a 2-story structure that I pointed out earlier. This is between the Enki and Prevost fields. So both plans are shown on this slide. The lower level at the bottom, you can see the running track of Prevost there on the very bottom. This the lower level of the field house includes more public toilet rooms. So there's a vastly improved number of fixtures in the area. Again, no longer do you have to climb the bleachers and enter the school building to use a very limited number of toilet facilities. We now are code compliant with a full requirement of toilet facilities. So, and again, they're spread out a little bit more by being both at the fitness edition as well as here. And moving to the left across the lower level of the field house is a concession stand, and that is has a window on either side that can address both Enki and Prevost stadiums. And then there are 2 team rooms, one that would support home team for Enki, as well as one that could support visiting team for both Prevost and Enki. And they have their own dedicated toilet facilities within that as well. On the upper plan, then at the top of the sheet, there's a open concourse area that's covered, weather protected. You'll see some views of that in a moment. That is accessed by a short bridge that connects it back to the ticket booth area off of Raider Way. You're just seeing the corner of that ticket booth there catching in the view. This upper level has toilet facilities and then a stair down for egress purposes and safety purposes down, would allow student athletes to congregate under this cover in weather situations, lightning events, that sort of thing. And then the skinny rectangle you see in the middle of that upper level concourse is a mechanical chase, but it creates a neat opportunity for identity and display, and as you'll see in a moment moving forward in the renderings. So the next slide will move us into the renderings. We have a series here that I'll go through to orient you to the project. This is a view entering that southern end of the stadium. This is as if one is coming off of the turnaround loop by the parking lot. You'll see the tennis courts to the left, the fitness addition straight ahead, as well as the fence and gate access and 2 ticket windows into the stadium. This is a view from inside the stadium, looking back at the high school building. The 2-story fitness addition there is in the center. The new turf field and all-weather running track are here in the foreground, and the new bleachers visible there against the natatorium volume. This is moving a little bit further towards the new bleachers, getting a closer in view of the new 2-story fitness addition. You'll see the glassy quality, the transparent quality of the upper level that will provide a great view out over the stadium. Lots of natural light and views, but also we'll be protecting that with performance features like sunscreens and so forth. The openings you see on the lower level there are to the public toilet rooms, as well as some much needed field level storage. And then to the left are the new bleachers. They're a much shallower slope than the existing ones, moved closer to the field for a better spectator experience, and creating a deeper opportunity for accessible viewing and circulation at the top of the bleachers. This view is moving to the northern end of the field. We're standing with the field house to our right, ticket booth to our left, and looking back at the stadium. This again is an opportunity for the ramp that if you were to head straight ahead there past the ticket booth, you would begin to descend down to the field level in a wide ramp that, as you can see, creates a great spectator location as well. This is on the upper level of the field house itself. Under the cover, you see the elevated view that it provides looking towards Prevost Field. You see the high school in the background there. So there's cover and shade here. We turn around and look towards Enke Field. Again, a great vista out over the field. You're seeing the bleachers there in the distance along Raider Way. This is an elevated bird's eye view looking essentially from Enke Field, hovering over Enke Field, looking back towards the high school, you see the field house, see the Enke bleachers, and then if you look between the bleachers and the field house, you'll see the ramp that descends from the ticket booth in the upper level of the field house, and the drop-off area along Raider Way down to the field level. So with both the Enke and Prevo bleachers, there's opportunities through integration of ramps into the landscape and then ramps up to the bleachers themselves. There's viewing opportunities at both the upper side and the lower level of the bleachers for those who need that access via the ramp. This is a view from the reconfigured and expanded parking lot back towards the new natatorium entrance. So the brick volume on the right there is the pool, and with Prevo to the right, what you're seeing in the foreground are the accessible parking spaces. There's a canopy, and then just beyond that is the new lobby and secure area that would access the elevator, the stairs to the upper level, as well as the public entrance to the natatorium itself. And from here, we'll start the animation. Here, it will begin by that vantage point once again from the tennis court area, the turnaround drop off, entering that southern end of the Prevo Stadium with the athletic and fitness and classroom addition in the immediately in front of us. You mean I might need to change the screen share there, Michael.
Hey, Michael, I think you probably realize it's not playing on our screen. Is it maybe playing on YouTube and we don't realize it?
It's worth the wait if we can get it going.
It is worth the wait. This is great. And we shared this at a board meeting, and I think it's actually probably changed a little bit just in the sense that you were able to revise some of the some of the animations and with some greater detail now in the design aspect. So while Michael works to get that up and working.
Hey guys, I'm trying to figure out why this is not sharing live for us through through YouTube. So hang on.
Would it help if I did the screen share, Michael? I can certainly give it a shot.
And I think sometimes what happens, Michael, too, is the screen share takes what's, it could
I'm
be the
trying to
Zoom
turn off
set.
the music here.
Yeah, hi, the music sounds all right. It's nice. I like having music in the background as I talk.
So if we want to watch that again, which we can, we got to see it, which was nice. But the people, I believe, who are watching us live, I have to stop sharing the PowerPoint, and then I have to start sharing the YouTube. So
Mike.
would we be okay with watching it again, or do you?
Sure, sure, go
Yeah,
ahead.
we didn't see, Michael. So just so you know, we didn't see anything. It never went for us either.
Oh, you didn't. Okay, well then we can.
No. So are you checking your monitor? I don't have YouTube up and running because you have.
I checked YouTube and it did not run on YouTube.
Yes. So, hang on a second. What?
So
Yeah. What?
If you have to turn us off, whichever, go ahead, whatever you think.
All right. Let me share my screen with the actual video here because we were still just sharing. Now I realized the PowerPoint. So give me 1 second. Thanks for your patience.
No problem.
Thank you, Michael.
It's all part of living in this virtual world we're living in right now.
Sure
That's
is.
right.
Sure
So,
is. All right. Let's see this. Let's hope this one's gonna work. All right. All right. Now you should be seeing YouTube.
Yes, we are.
All right. Here we go. Now we're gonna actually see it.
Great. Probably needs no explanation, but we are circling around from the south. That's the two-story fitness addition in the middle with the new bleachers at Prevo to the left. In the foreground is the new plaza that would be developed between the tennis courts and the field. You see the switchback ramps and the ticket booth, and the field house is coming into view. Then we'll transition to a point where we're traveling along Radnor Chester Road and then coming onto campus on Raider Way. The field house will be a very prominent element and give a bit of a new identity to the campus as you enter from that direction.
That painted building is being painted by our next senior class as we speak.
Mhm. So we're approaching the drop-off area. And this is the plaza for the ticket booth, as well as the entrance to the field house. And we get to experience what it's like to walk down these large ramps. They become the universal access to the site. There's a landing there in the middle from which you can choose to go to either Prevo or Enki. We're coming up towards the natatorium at this point. You can get a glimpse there of the expanded viewing platform behind the Enki bleachers. I'm sorry, the pre-vote posters. And this is the new expanded parking lot with ADA parking that then allows direct access to the stadium as well as the high school itself. And that is the natatorium entrance.
Okay.
Worth
bring
the
up a
wait.
PowerPoint.
Thank you, Michael.
Well, Steve, thank you. Thank you for, putting all of that together and, in a single presentation tonight for us. I know there's a great deal of other, drawings and schematics that have been behind all of this as well. So thank you for putting all of that together. So our next, what we wanted to do tonight was we wanted to share this information and then answer any questions. I think we're monitoring the questions. It doesn't look like there's any questions right now tonight coming in. Is that accurate, Michael? We have nothing coming in tonight right now as forms of questions at this point.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up the, since I had to share my screen, I couldn't check the email until this
Okay.
moment. Let me just give me a chance here to
Sure.
check.
While you check, and I just want to share with everybody. So we want to hear your feedback. We want to hear your feedback. We want to find out, what questions you may have. We're planning to have another meeting, as we said, next Thursday to respond to those questions. Certainly, we can respond to them tonight as well. Part of the world we're living in now is that, we would have loved to have held this meeting in person with everyone, but we're doing a lot of things virtually right now, and we were finding also sometimes doing it virtually actually has increased our viewership with many things as well, because people can easily tune in and ask questions. So if you're watching this tomorrow or the next day before our meeting, you can certainly email us separately. And Michael, as you're looking up emails, do we want all the emails just go to board comments, or did we have a special email just for this project that was linked to the website when we originally created, the accessibility and wellness part of the website? Did we have a separate email just for questions about the project, or could we post a separate email that might be a little bit more clear to people? Would that make sense, or how would you like?
It would. I don't know if we have created one for the project, but we certainly could, and we could advertise that prominently in our newsletter and the website once it's created. If people have questions in the meantime, they could, I guess, email the board comments address until that one gets live. And I am checking that email now, and there is none that have come in yet.
Okay. So either location, if somebody does board comments, please just mention that it's in respect to this, to the accessibility and wellness project in this presentation, and we won't read it at our normal board meeting when we read board comments. But in the meantime, we will post that on the website with the accessibility, that unique email address, and that way we can gather all of those emails there. So seeing that there's not questions so far tonight, and that was really some of our focus. Before we wrap up, I just want to go back to our panelists. If there's any last thoughts or last comments we wanted to share about the project, and then I'll close it up for the evening.
Just on a practical matter, I think that, we can watch this 1 hour presentation on YouTube, but Michael, is it correct that also that video segment, which is just about 4 minutes, can also be viewed separately? And I think it has a snappy tune to it that we didn't hear tonight.
I was going to ask Michael to hum it. Yeah, we were going to ask you to hum it. We couldn't hear it, Michael. So we thought
Just add to the list. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, we can certainly either get that file from Steve if you want to just send us the MP4 and we can upload it to our own YouTube account, or we can pull that segment of the video and add the audio and create a standalone video just for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll gladly provide it in that standalone format for you.
Thanks.
Ken, I think one thing you might want to add is that the financial aspect of this is going to be before the board and discussed if people are interested in that aspect. I'm not sure of the meeting dates, but maybe say that too.
Yes, so the next plans for the project, let me just pull up my calendar because weekends are blurring lately with work days, with everybody working around but so we have next Tuesday, the 18th, we're going to have a special board meeting to conduct facilities committee meeting. So that's going to be at 5 p.m. on the 18th. So please, if you're interested, please tune into our facilities committee meeting. That will be a full board meeting, a special board meeting with the full board, but to just conduct facilities committee work, which we will be looking at this project. We'll be looking at the designs that we saw tonight, some of it in a little greater detail. We will also be discussing the finances back in December, really back in November, and then January. We discussed the finances extensively about this project, especially before we took the vote last December to move forward with the proposed project, with the proposed costs of roughly $24 million. We had brought in some of our, not only Mrs. Deco, who's with us now on the meeting, Michelle, who's our business manager, but we brought in also bond counsel to talk about what are our options if we would like to go out and float a bond for the project. What is our ability as a school district to afford this project? That is something that at every milestone in this project, we will continue to look at and discuss as a school board and discuss publicly. I know there's a lot of questions that are raised about the time we're living in with COVID and those pieces, and we're going to discuss that next week as well. We do think that right now, as much as there's been challenges for us with COVID, there could be some opportunities for us as well because of where we are with this project and the work that has already gone through with the project. But we will continue, like my mantra I have with so many things, we take things one day at a time, and we'll continue to discuss and look at the milestones and what decisions we need to make at this point. But again, that facilities committee will happen next Tuesday. We'll then be talking about it at the full board meeting, with the full board the following Tuesday. So that would be then August 25th. We'll be discussing this project as well at that time. Other last thoughts or comments from anyone before I close for this session?
I had a couple of quick comments, and just I wanted to thank everybody for being here tonight. I want to also, I've been looking through the documents that Steve has sent. There are, a huge stack of design development documents that are technical that I've been looking through. But tonight was the first time I saw the updated animated rendering and walkthrough, and which took us up at one point to that high up view, which was really, really great to see. So to see how elegant it was and how connected it is. And then I can think back to 4 or 5 months ago when I first started here. The first place I went was down to meet folks down in that area of Prevost, and it was very confusing. I felt like a lost freshman, and so just to see how it's all connected and how beautiful that is exciting, and it's great. But then also I want to thank Jeff, because again, entering in sort of at this midpoint to Radnor, Jeff, the history you provided there, and Ken also taking us back to 2016, bringing us up to now. And to now is difficult because we all have COVID brains right now, but to take us up to now, but then tonight was an opportunity to kind of, again, get up on that view of how we did get to here was good to hear, good to see, this whole project around inclusion, equity, and then this, and sort of a whole mind and body kind of way to educate. And this addresses it. It kind of provides a path forward to all of that, which is wonderful. And then just on very practical notes, I've spent a lot of this week mapping out with other administrators where we will put people separately, during back to school. And we're coming out with great solutions, but boy, I wish we had built this 2 years ago, because we could be out in that field house upper deck, and we have all the kinds of space that we need right now. So this was just kind of a nice little positive in the middle of what is a trying summer. So thank you guys for providing that big overview and that update. I think it's what we needed.
Great. Well, thanks. It takes a big team from that big set of documents that you have, Bill. There's too many people to mention, but I'm grateful for the attention that it's getting from our office and the consultants and the construction manager and everybody at the district, from the administration building on down to the high school, and even the technicians that are there that have such a deep knowledge of the facility itself and what they've brought in terms of a perspective that's so critical for us during the design. A big part of the success will be the involvement of the district as well, and the seriousness with which this is being pursued. And it's a great team, and it's exciting to see it move forward.
Jeff, anything last word you have, or?
I'd be remiss if I didn't take us back to what the Henkel family has said for years now, which is, take the ramp in honor of Pete. And I really appreciate how tenacious the administration has been in kind of moving us forward in a very difficult time period. This is the kind of thing that we're going to it has to be fixed. And I really appreciate Steve's time and everybody's time in working in the accessibility aspect of this and really making it inclusive in a way where we're changing the way that Radnor students are going to be interacting with each other, with this ramping, with the other things we talked about on accessibility. And that's incredibly important for students, for visitors, for family, for friends that we invite into this environment. And I really thank you all for the emphasis and importance you put on it, which is necessary, but some is easily lost with all these other challenges we have. So thank you.
And I thank you, Jeff, for that, and thank you all for everything you've been doing. But and it has been a team effort. The steering committee and the administration in the midst of this. I don't know, it feels like it's every 2 weeks, but roughly it's every 2 to 3 weeks. We've had a steering committee meeting for the last several months, and even though we went virtual in March, we continued with the meetings, and all the members of the steering committee have stayed with this, which has been really wonderful. And yes, as you mentioned, Jeff, that the community input by so many families, so many alumni, really helped us, create a design that we were, at many times in this process over the last couple of years, wondering where that design would come up and how is it going to look, and how do we do this to satisfy what are serious accessibility issues, serious issues also with just terrain and grading, with the geography, and how do we overcome those challenges. And it is, as Bill mentioned, it's exciting to see how we've overcome those, and to see where we are at this design development. So the board will be discussing this on the 18th at a facilities meeting at 5 o'clock. The board will then on the 25th of August, we're going to look to hopefully have a vote on moving the design. It's another milestone in this project. So approving the design development phase. We've already approved the schematic phase, and so that would be another milestone in the project as we continue to move forward. At those board meetings, there will be more discussion about phasing and how the project would look and when it goes out to bid and the timing. So if you're interested in that, please, I encourage people to join us, virtually for those board meetings that we'll be having next Tuesday and then on the 25th as well. And depending on the questions, we'll be back next week. But I mean, if we don't have too many between now and then, we'll regroup. The steering committee has a meeting and talk about how we want to handle that next phase. But to our public watching, who I know will view this, tomorrow or the next day or the day after, please look on our website under the Accessibility and Wellness Project. We'll have a separate email And if that, if that doesn't work and it's easier for you to use board comments, feel free to please use board comments to list questions or comments. And as with everything, please feel free to reach out to an administrator, reach out to myself, reach out to Mr. Dolan. If you have questions, Mrs. Kevgis as well at the high school has been part of the steering committee and is well versed in the project as well. And Mr. Friel, our athletic director, has been part of this as well. But we can't thank our community, can't thank the steering committee, and I can't thank all of you enough, and I can't thank the school board enough for their support and their guidance over the years. And that's many members, previous school board members, current school board members, because this is a project that has been in the development for many years and has been a focus for the school district, and it's continuing to move along. And I thank all of you. And Mr. Batiti, thank you for all your organization for behind the scenes. And I think we'll call it a night.
Okay. Have a nice night, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night.